I naturally fell into babysitting around the age of 14. Through friends and family, I got leads for babysitting to score some cash, which definitely beat having to work at a restaurant. The job had its ups and downs, but overall it wasn't that bad of a gig at all. Yet, as many good experiences as I had, they were all eclipsed by one night. A new family in town talked to my dad at work, and it turned out that they needed a babysitter. I happily took the job and found myself watching their 10-year-old boy a couple of weeks later. There was nothing out of the ordinary about the family themselves. They were the model citizens of the suburban America, complete with the white picket fence and the blue shutters. Nothing about their house was strange or even unique. Their son, Avery, was very mild-mannered and polite. Even their car was basic. Not that these were bad things, but I expected it to be a very boring night. What I did not expect was the uncomfortable, inexplicable feeling that I got when I stepped foot in that house. A chill ran through me, but there was no draft. I rubbed my arms as I gazed at their staircase as we passed. They gave me a brief tour of the house before they left a note of instructions and all of the usual information I expected for a job. While trying to figure out what was making me so uneasy about this place, I noticed something about their basement door when I passed it. A padlock was placed on the door, along with a deadbolt in place. "Any questions?" the father asked as my mind was pulled out of my curiosity. "No, sir. Everything looks great." So they left, and Avery and I just played games before I made dinner. A couple of times I thought I heard Avery call me into the den. Both times I found him sitting on the couch in what most recognize as a TV zombie state. He denied having called me, and I went back to making dinner. After the third time, I told Avery it wasn't funny, that he should stop. "I'm not doing anything. I'm just watching TV." His voice went to a higher tone of pleading, sounding desperate for me to believe him. "Avery, I know it's my first time, and sometimes you want to test things out, but I'm trying to get dinner ready, so if you call me again, I'm not checking on you, okay?" I didn't say anything. The child glared at the TV with a pouting face, and I began to feel bad. As many times as I've heard lies, I was starting to sense that he was telling the truth. So what was I hearing? "Hey, it's fine. I'm not mad, promise." Avery turned his head back towards me, seeming to test if I was the one fibbing now. "How about I let you stay up a little later if we forget about it?" "Do you really promise?" Pinky promise. With our contractual pinkies interlocked, spirits were raised again, and I was able to finish dinner, although I didn't finish without hearing Avery's voice calling me once more. I ignored it, and when Avery didn't mention it at dinner, I figured it was just him fooling around again. The whole time we chatted as we ate, I couldn't help but feel that something was not right about this house. As hard as I tried to not look, my eyes kept diverting to the heavy padlock and chain on the basement door. Curiosity got the best of me, and as we were cleaning up, I couldn't help but ask, "So, Avery, what's the deal with the basement door?" "What do you mean?" His words did not match his demeanor. It was obvious he didn't make eye contact as he forced the sentence out. "Come on, you know what I mean. The padlock, chain, and deadbolt. You'll have dangerous chemicals down there?" Avery's face grew paler, and he stared at the wall for a moment. "Hey, it's okay. You don't have to tell me. I didn't mean to. Dad said no one can talk about it anymore." This really threw me off, and I couldn't possibly finish my sentence now. A thick veil of tension materialized between us. "So you guys aren't allowed to talk about it?" Avery shook his head. "Ah, okay. That's cool, no big deal." It was nothing but a big deal. Was their dad doing something illegal down there? Or was it something strange that no one could do anything about it? Maybe their dad was in denial about something going on. There were way too many questions going through my head now. Hey, how about we put on a movie? Yeah, sure. What am I saying? Everyone likes movies, right? Now excited, we decided on a fun movie that quickly pulled our minds away from the mysterious basement door. Well, that's not entirely true. Maybe Avery was distracted, but it was killing me. As we ate popcorn, I couldn't help but watch Avery, wondering what was going on in that little head of his. Was there something awful going on in this house, and there was nothing that I could do to stop it? Or maybe the dad was just... Stop, I told myself inwardly. Mulling over it all endlessly was not doing myself any favors. So the movie ended, and I ushered the drifting child to his bed. Now the house was all to myself until 12, so I had a good 3.5 hours to myself. Immediately, I began texting my friend to tell them about this weird experience I was having that night. She dismissed it, saying that I was getting spooked by a new place. This annoyed me to no end. I'd been at bigger, way creepier looking houses, but never got weird vibes like this. Then, I heard it. Stephanie. I went instantly still and listened intently. You didn't hear that stuff? Just keep texting your friend and Stephanie. There was no mistaking it this time. It was definitely coming from the basement. The acoustics couldn't have been from Avery upstairs. The voice sounded like a little girl's. In fact, I'm not sure he could ever make his voice like that anyway. Slowly, I stood up from the couch and approached the door. Maybe like earlier, I was just hearing things. Maybe being creeped out by the house was starting to mess with my head. That made sense, right? Stephanie. I jumped back from the door, almost wetting myself in the process. There was no way I could dismiss it as anything else now. There was a little girl's voice coming from the basement. Hello? I responded. I couldn't keep my voice from shaking. Is this Stephanie? Yes, it's Stephanie. Can you help me? Who are you? Why are you locked in the basement? My name is Meredith Rosenberg. They've kept me locked up for a long time now. The police were almost on to them, and that's why they moved. Can you get me out? A cold shock washed over me and made it hard to respond. Was I actually babysitting a family that kept a little girl prisoner? Oh my God. How long have you been locked up with them? Ever since I can remember. I felt somehow hot and cold at the same time and wanted to throw up. This all made sense now with what Avery had told me. Of course his father didn't want him to talk about the door. I just need to find the keys and I can. They're hidden in the garage, underneath the metal shelf. It's inside a magnetic key holder. Okay, just hold tight. In a panic to free the poor girl, I darted into the garage and began feeling the space underneath the bottom shelf. And sure enough, there was a magnetic key holder. Running back, I popped the key holder open and began to insert the key into the padlock. Did you find it? Yes, sweetie, I'm almost there. Oh, please hurry. Sometimes they come home early. This sent me into more of a rush, and I barely managed to fumble the keys into the padlock. I finally heard the successful click of the padlock, pulled the chain off, and slid the deadbolt to the right. I'm coming, Meredith. Hold on. I turned the doorknob and threw open the door, only to be met with darkness. Now full of adrenaline, my hands felt around for the light switch. Finally finding my purchase, I flicked on the light, which lit up most of the stairs. Meredith? I called out. Unless I was remembering it wrong, It sounded like her voice was just on the other side of this door a minute ago. In fact, it was quite strange that she wasn't waiting for me on the top of the stairs. Wouldn't you immediately run out of a basement that you were locked in for God knows how long? "I'm down here," the little girl's voice called out. Judging from the distance, it sounded like she was calling from somewhere at the bottom of the stairs. My brain suddenly began piecing all of the details of this interaction together, and the idea of going into the basement became absolutely terrifying. "Meredith, you can come up now. The door's open." I couldn't hide the tremor in my voice. Why I was scared of a little girl was beyond me, but much like the house itself, something felt very wrong here. "I hurt my leg. Ow. When you said you were getting the key, I went back down to get some of my things and got hurt." Her sounds of pain filled me with sorrow, but an invisible force was holding me back from taking another step into that basement. "Can you move? Maybe pull yourself up the railing." "I can't. It hurts too bad." "Okay, sweetie, what's wrong? Won't you help me?" It's just really dark there, and I don't want to get hurt too. Is there any way you can get up the stairs? Any way at all?" I tried to sit up, but my shoulder hurts too much. "I thought you said your leg got hurt." The words hung in the air like a noose. It was only after I said it that I realized there were several things seriously wrong about all of this. A question popped into my head, and I didn't even have time to think of it until now. How did she know where the padlock key was? A deathly silence took up the space between me and whatever this girl was. It was a standoff, and I couldn't think of anything else to say. There were questions I could ask her to figure out what was happening, but I felt that her answers weren't going to be honest. Perhaps at this point, the truth was too frightful to know. "Meredith, are you still there?" It was a stupid question, but it was the only thing my mind could conjure. The additional silence only unnerved me, so I decided to try to get a better look. Fishing my phone out of my pocket, I clicked on the flashlight. It didn't do me any good because of the awful range, so I did one thing I'd already told myself not to do. I took a step forward. Maybe it was the angle of the stairs or the lighting, but that one step gave me more information than I ever wanted to know. I caught a better view of the bottom step, which was essentially a ledge into a black abyss. Something looked different on the step, but it took a second to register what it was. The step was wet. A pool of some unknown liquid overflowing into the darkness of the basement. I knew for sure that the father hadn't mentioned any flooding, so it would be way too random for that. So I stood there, watching in frozen curiosity as the puddle then suddenly rippled, and I realized the abominable truth. It wasn't water. It was a puddle of saliva, and something was drooling into it from the dark. A wretched chuckle emanated from the horrid void beyond the step, and it cemented me even further into place. It was a wet chortle and positively evil. "How did you like my voice?" the thing said from the dark. "I've been practicing." The epiphany creeped down my spine. It was now talking in Avery's voice. Everything in my body screamed at me to run. I heard the screams, but I couldn't respond no matter what. I heard the screams, but I couldn't respond no matter how hard I tried. The pity, though, almost got you. At this, the most gruesome face peeled back from the shadows and revealed itself, along with its unearthly mandibles and small fountain of saliva. My faculties finally came to, and I threw myself into the house and kicked the door closed. In mere seconds, I had the door bolted and chained, leaning against the door. My chest heaved as I struggled to catch my breath. Just as I felt I was safe, the door shuddered as a terrible blow rocked it. I screamed and ran upstairs to grab Avery. I practically dragged the poor kid out of the door and called the police. It wasn't until the operator came on that I realized I was about to report a monster in the house. Thinking quickly, I told them I heard a burglar in the home. It wasn't long before the police and Avery's parents came home. Nothing was found, even in the basement, but I didn't even care at that point. I just wanted the hell out of that house and away from whatever that thing was. Avery's parents kept glancing at me funny the whole time, probably because they knew I had their basement key. I shoved it into their hands before I hugged Avery and got into my car to drive home. The poor kid has to live in that house with that thing, but there was nothing I could do about it. As long as I am alive, I will never, ever step foot in that house again. And as for basements go, I can't go into them anymore. I just simply can't. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you would like to see more creepypastas and stuff like this on the channel, make sure to let me know down in the comment section. I kind of like being able to swap it up between the true stories and stuff like this, but I would gladly do more creepypastas like this. I like this a lot, and I hope that you do. So make sure to like, comment, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. We're doing nothing but growing. I've got a lot of content, a lot more coming. So also make sure to check out the links in the description as well, like Twitter, Instagram, everything like that. And the channel members and the Gmail, stuff like that, yada yada. But with that being said, stay safe, stay scary, and I'll see you in the next one.